Hello, Patriot friends. I'm doing this video in behalf of a beautiful woman, very kind, sweet woman that has just been going through hell. She's being held from her child right now. In my opinion, this is trafficking. This is child trafficking being driven by a court system. And so this is one of the reasons why I'm going to my Patriot friends. I think a lot of us have seen a lot of corruption. We've kind of woken up to some dark things that are in every walk of life, and the courts are no exceptions to that. And I think we need a lot of eyes and ears on this situation. There's strength in numbers. So if you do nothing else but just listen to this and share it, that is a great start right there. If there's other people that have experience in law enforcement or in legal, they can help. This woman has done all of her own court filings. She's been phenomenal, the stuff that she's been put together, and I'll explain that in a minute. But we're mostly wanting to just get some exposure and light on this because I believe personally this little boy is in danger. So let me explain the situation a little bit. I'll try to make it brief. I am former law enforcement. I've done a lot of victim advocate cases. I get pulled into these every once in a while just as a volunteer. It's been a long time since I've done this officially, but sometimes if there's satanic involvement or some pretty hairy things that I've dealt with in other cases, I get tracked down and pulled into these, which is what's happened here. In a nutshell, this couple had a baby. The baby was only 9 weeks old when all this had gone down, but dad had gotten a little bit of legal trouble. Both mom and dad had been arrested. It wasn't, I won't get into a lot of detail, but it was like, he didn't have plates for his truck, kind of the sovereign citizen thing. He had some things in his vehicle that he shouldn't have taken across state lines that he actually got charged for, but mom spent over 90 days in jail as well. At this time, and by the way, she was acquitted of all charges. When I came into this, it was after she had been jailed, and some people reached out to me. The thing that I'm telling you right now is very, very documented, easily proven. So I've looked into it myself, had other people look into it. When she had been in jail, she was in Utah. She'd only been in jail for a few days. There was a guy that contacted her and claimed to be the guardian ad litem of her child and asked if she wanted to give the baby up for adoption. The baby had been taken away and given to the father's family member, and they claimed that he was willing to give up his rights to his child and wanted to know if the mom wanted to, which of course she absolutely refused and said she was going to get out of there. There was a mistake. She shouldn't have been there. She claims he was kind of cynical to her, and said, you better take my number. You're going to need it. Then when I got involved and started looking into some things, I absolutely was very nervous about some things that I had looked into that weren't right. I had talked to people that had knew that the father or the family, and I was concerned. So I reached out to this guy. I got his name and his number. I reached out to him, and I had addressed him as the guardian ad litem because that's what I thought he was. He didn't correct me. In fact, he told me about all of his experience being a guardian ad litem and alluded to the fact that he was, which I found out later was a lie. First of all, he was a family member to the guardian parents that had taken the child for guardianship, and he was a guardian ad litem, but he had not been court appointed. So he at best was deceitful to me and led me to believe something else, and the mother claimed that he had done the same thing to her. So going down the road now, mother had gotten out. There's a sweet lady that had kind of adopted her. She's in her 70s, and this mother doesn't have supportive family, so she kind of took her in, let her live in her home, kind of get back on her feet, and this woman has been fighting for her baby ever since. She went to the courts in April of this year. The mother had come to Wyoming to fight for her child. She had filed a petition to get her child back. For some reason, it ended up in a civil courtroom instead of a family courtroom, which I still don't understand how that happened. The mother did an excellent job providing all the information and really fighting for herself, came by herself. It was phenomenal, the things that they came up against the mom. But long story short, mother and father did win custody back of their baby. the sad part is that the custody was pending reunification. And they put this attorney, the guardian ad litem that wasn't really guardian ad litem, in charge of those visits. And mother has been fighting to get her visits ever since April. She's had 2 visits since, and one of these an hour and a half away from the family. And so she tried for a long time to get them to have a neutral place where they could visit outside of the home, because that's what the court order said, that it could be in the home or a neutral place. She couldn't get anywhere with them. So somebody from the community that this family knows drove her there, and they refused to let him in. They said they would trespass him and they would not give her visit. After they made all these stipulations that she couldn't have a phone or a bag or anything. So she was kind of walking, and she couldn't have anybody with her. So she's kind of walking into a lion's den. They could have whoever they wanted there, and they had lied to her about things in court. And then she was supposed to go to that family home and hope that nothing bad had happened to her, or they didn't say anything. So she has done that one time. And she's been trying to get visits ever since. They won't even respond to her. She's asked over and over again, documented everything. And they just will not work with her. Dad's had far more visits than she has. But they're still not giving him everything either. They found out that this little boy, has got some health issues. So let me back up a little bit. In court, it was established that these guardianship parents illegally, it's not legal for them to do, they changed his doctor, which the doctor knew that the baby was not to have vaccines. There's a sensitivity there. And so they took him to a different doctor, got a birth certificate and a social security card, changed his name, all while mom was in jail, or that she'd been out trying to fight for him. And they were chastised in court, but of course nothing happened to them. So here they were trying to, like I said, it feels like it's legal kidnapping to me, that they were not punished for that. They were trying to take the identity of this baby, and they vaccinated him. And he's got health issues, don't know exactly what it is, because of course mom hasn't had him into another doctor to see, but we've been told that the baby's having seizures. He's been hospitalized twice recently, and that's very concerning to me. I think, who knows what's going on. They're not communicating with mom. She has filed, again, she's done all of her court filings and everything. I'm so impressed with all the work that she's put into it on her own. That's why we could use some legal help. And, she doesn't have the money to have an attorney, but if somebody could help coach her, give her some advice, that would be awesome. She has filed with the Supreme Court. She does have a court case, I believe, on September 8th. Now, here's where the sticky part comes in, is she cannot leave. So we have been footing the bill for her in a motel room since April. And this sweet grandmother-ish lady has foot most of the bill. Some of us have helped out where we could. Can't get a driver's license there in that state. She doesn't, it's a long story, but so she has no transportation. She walks everywhere. She walks to and from the courts every single day. But that motel room has established a residency where she's got a crib and all the things that a baby would need, so that she could have him for overnight visits to be able to take him home. And they're just kicking the can, doing everything they can not to give her those visits. Currently, that / guardian ad litem attorney is being promoted to judge. I'm sure that doesn't surprise some of you. It's just craziness. And so he has stepped down. So she does have a fighting chance if she can go to the Supreme Court and plead her case. She's been trying to get this done for a long time, to get seen. That attorney was supposed to reply to the court, and he just keeps kicking the date back and not responding. And in my opinion, they're just trying to wear her out. And it's very it's disgusting to me. In that court, that attorney's son, and I believe his daughter-in-law, works there. I mean, this is all a conflict of interest, in my opinion. This should not be. He's a family member to the woman that has the baby. And so to put him in charge of those visits and then not to give her those visits is just absolutely, should be criminal, in my opinion. So anyway, what we're asking for, again, if anybody can help with the legal or just the exposure, letting people know, putting eyes on it, having in writing they have legal custody of the baby pending these visits that they can't get. The other thing is too, is if you could spare $5 or $10, I will put her Venmo in here. If you need more information, want more information from me so you know where it's going, I'm happy to explain that. Or you can send it to me and I'll give it to her, whatever you feel comfortable with. But this poor woman that's been helping her, this older lady, she has just like spent every penny she can trying to keep her there so that she's not charged with abandonment and that she can get her son. So anything any of you can do to help, especially sending this message on, and lots of prayers, lots and lots of prayers. I mean, we know that that is the best thing that we can do for anybody. So if that's the only way you can help, please do that and share this message. And if you have any questions for me, please get back to me. Thank you so much for listening.